in the quiet, mountain-hidden town named Greyhaven, which was always shrouded in thick fog, a special day had arrived. It was the birthday of a young girl named Elizabeth. The town, typically peaceful and silent, began to slowly come alive, as if awakening from a long slumber. Preparations for the celebration were in full swing. Houses were adorned with flowers and balloons, and the aroma of freshly baked pastries wafted through the streets. Evening came, and guests started to gather at Elizabeth's house. Relatives, friends, and neighbors brought gifts and well wishes for the girl, smiling and chatting about how quickly time flew by. However, as the party itself began, something strange began to happen. The local clockmaker was the first to notice that the hands on his clocks had started moving backward. "Impossible," he muttered, looking at his watch. "This can't be." Others noticed the same. Clocks on the walls of Elizabeth's house also began to run backward, creating an atmosphere of a peculiar time distortion. Events from the past slowly began to mix with the present, and people started feeling as if they were reliving certain moments from their lives over and over again. But the most peculiar thing was happening to the guests' memories. "Hey, you seem so familiar, but I can't remember from where," whispered one woman to another guest, looking at him in bewilderment. I can't recall my own name," the other replied, trying to remember something. The fog grew thicker and thicker, as if engulfing reality itself. Guests began to panic, trying to understand what was happening and how to return everything to normal. But the more they tried to comprehend, the more entangled they became in the web of time and space. Amidst the panic and chaos, one of the guests began to remember. Her name was Sophie, and she suddenly realized that this nightmarish situation was connected to her past. She shared this with the others and realized that they all grasped onto the single thread that could help them unravel the mystery of the eternity. Sophie began to reveal her own story, uncovering dark events she had always tried to forget. She recalled family secrets and losses she had never dared to speak aloud. Her story was intertwined with this place, Greyhaven, and she understood that to unravel the mystery of eternity, they needed to uncover the secrets of their own lives. Gradually, each guest began to remember their own story, and they realized that they were all tied to this town much deeper than they had thought. They understood that eternity was not just a blending of temporal lines, but also places that held the secrets and memories of all who had ever lived there. With each new revelation, the guests moved closer to solving the mystery, and time began to distort less. The fog began to dissipate, and they saw Elizabeth standing in the middle of the street. Her eyes were filled with fear, but she was alive. "Elizabeth," Sophie cried out, rushing to the girl and embracing her. I was afraid I would lose all of you," Elizabeth whispered, tears streaming down her face. The guests gathered around, realizing that they had managed to restore reality, overcoming the darkness of eternity. They had found the keys to understanding their past lives and confronted the things they had always tried to forget. But now they knew that the past could not be erased and that it had shaped them into who they were today. The party continued, but this time it was filled with much deeper meaning. Guests looked at each other with newfound respect and understanding, knowing that they had unraveled the mystery of eternity and defeated the nightmare. The party continued, but this time it was filled with much deeper meaning. Guests looked at each other with newfound respect and understanding, knowing that they had unraveled the mystery of eternity and defeated the nightmare. They were no longer just guests at a party. They had become a part of this special place, connected by the secret they uncovered together. And though they returned to their lives, they always remembered the day they faced the mystical power of eternity and triumphed over it, uncovering the secrets of their lives and forging a new path into the future. On the outskirts of an abandoned village, where roads are covered in mist and the wind whispers its secrets, stands the house of a boy named Jake. Jake is an orphan who lives alone in this strange place. On this day, his 13th birthday, he decides to do something special. He wants his birthday to become a memorable event that he will never forget. Throughout the week, Jake meticulously prepared for the celebration. He cleaned the house, decorated the room, and even learned to cook simple dishes. He sent invitations to his friends, hoping they would come and make his day even more special. As evening fell, Jake grew nervous. He went outside to check if his friends were coming to his place. In the distance, he noticed the shadows slowly approaching his house. It was his friends, Emily and Thomas. The friends entered the house, and the celebration began. Everyone laughed, talked, and enjoyed the festive dinner that Jake had prepared. However, suddenly the lights went out, and the room was engulfed in darkness. The sounds of the night became eerily ominous. Rustlings seemed like whispers of dark forces. Jake looked around fearfully, but Emily and Thomas had vanished. He began to shout and search for them throughout the house, but to no avail. They seemed to have dissolved into the night. Jake was left alone in the midst of a grim atmosphere full of unknown threats. He decided that he had to find out what was happening. He remembered old legends told to him by an old man from the neighboring village about local mysteries and ancient rituals. He realized that his birthday was connected to dark forces that sought to entangle him and his friends in their secrets. Jake began his investigation, exploring old records and documents about the village. He discovered that many years ago, mysterious disappearances of people occurred here, connected to special rituals conducted on birthdays. However, to unravel the mystery, he needed to find the keys to the ancient rituals. Jake ventured into the depths of the forest, where, according to legends, ancient artifacts were hidden, capable of unlocking the doors to the world of secrets. In the forest, Jake found the artifacts and started to decipher their meanings. He realized that only with the help of these ancient objects could he save his friends and unravel the mystery of his birthday. However, on his way back home, Jake realized that dark forces had started to pursue him. He could sense their presence in every rustle of leaves, in every gust of wind. He had to use all his knowledge and courage to stand against them. Finally, the long-awaited day of Jake's next birthday arrived. He gathered his artifacts and began performing the ancient rituals. A strange atmosphere enveloped him, the air pulsated, and dark clouds gathered over the house. As the ritual reached its peak, Jake realized that he needed to sacrifice something dear to sever the connection with the dark forces. He remembered his memories, what he was willing to give up for the sake of his friend's salvation. The ritual concluded, and the moment seemed to freeze. The darkness dispersed, and Jake discovered he was standing in his room, with his friends Emily and Thomas standing beside him. They were safe. It turned out that the ritual had successfully undid Jake and his friends from the dark forces, and they were able to return. However, Jake was left with a feeling that the dark forces would forever remain a part of this place.